Do you like money? If so, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show with your hosts Ryan Gertis, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Real Estate 401k Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick from Fairway Independent Mortgage. Ryan is still on vacation up in Alaska.
Jealous.
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to him earlier today, and we just had bad reception. And he goes, "Yeah, we got weather coming in." No one in Arizona says we got weather coming in, right?
No. I mean, recently, we've had a little bit of weather, but nothing like they get up there.
Yeah, so he's up in his place up in Homer, Alaska. Looking forward to having him back next week. You're going to want to text the word RATE to 623-AZ Recon. That's RATE to 623-AZ Recon. When we get done with this, when you get done listening to this episode, I'd highly encourage you to go back to Monday's episode and listen to an entire story of how we helped a buyer really take advantage of a seller. I know, Justin, so many buyers right now are concerned about rates. I have one right now, and I got to give her a call. She just texts me, "I want to wait for rates to go down." No, you don't.
No.
You don't. The higher the rate right now, the better. And I'm going to explain why. We're ballpark rates right now, 6.5.
Low sixes right now. And here's the thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but all these people are waiting. One of the most common leads to our conversation right now is, I want to wait until the Fed drops the rate. So what people don't understand is the rates work off of expectations of what the Feds are going to do, treasury yields, and inflation, active inflation. So the expectations of what Feds are due, we've already got the September rate cut baked in, an October rate cut baked in, and a 40% chance of a December rate cut baked into our interest rate. So we've seen dramatic movement because of the Fed's activity and what they're talking about. So pretty cool. But yeah, low sixes conventional, high fives for VA. And when I say high fives, we just locked in a 5.75 on a VA.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, no buy downs. And FHAs are at high fives as well. So we're in a really good spot here.
Yeah, and I also want to just clarify that if you're listening to this, just note that we recorded this last week, so the rates could be different.
Yes, they could, absolutely.
It could be sevens right now.
Yeah.
For all
well,
we know.
let's hope not. Yeah, we got inflation reports coming out this week.
Okay, so you got buyers concerned about high interest rates. I always explain to a buyer that you can have whatever interest rate you want. You name the number, you can have it. You just have to pay for it. If you want a 4.5% interest rate, you can have a 4.5% interest rate. There's just a lot of costs involved to it, and most people don't want to come out of pocket that much money and so forth. We're at a very unique period, though, and this is what I'm telling my buyers. What's your number? Give me your magic number. Is it 5.75? Okay, it's 5.75. What if, instead of you paying for that 5.75 interest rate, what if we go out, find a home, and let me and Ryan negotiate and get the seller to pay for that 5.75. I do not remember the last buyer that we've worked with that we have not been able to get the seller to buy down the rate. So it's just, it's like the 6.5, or what you just quoted is the suggested retail price. Don't get intimidated by it, because we can get it down. And if you have someone who knows how to negotiate this, that's what you do.
You got to play the market. You got to go out there and play the market and stay non-emotional about the homes. It's let's just put it like a car. Okay, you have a specific car that you want. That's your house. I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I need a swimming pool. Whatever it may be. There's other homes out there, right? There's other cars out there. You go play the market with different car dealerships. You're putting in offers. You're wheeling and dealing. But in this case, you hire somebody to do that wheeling and dealing, so you don't have to be ashamed of what you're offering. You have good knowledge over here, good negotiation skills. they go out and play the market. But that you got to stay non-emotional about it, right, Mike?
Yeah, well, you absolutely do. If you get caught up in where rates are today, that's an emotional reaction, and you're so narrow-minded, you're not understanding that you can get the rate that you want. It is a possibility. It's out there, and it's being done all the time. And so what I mean, really, the process is somebody texts into the show, and go ahead and text the word rate to 623 AZ Recon. That's rate to 623 AZ Recon. We send it over to you. You pre-qualify them, and then I ask you, I go, okay, how much do I need to get from the seller before we start negotiating? How much do I need to get to, in the perfect world, have all the buyer's closing costs paid for by the seller and to get that 5.75% rate?
Right.
And you'll give me a ballpark. So now I know, before I'm ever submitting that offer, before I'm writing that offer, that's what. Now, we may not get it, or we may not get all of it, but oftentimes we are. And now I know what that number is, and then I will always ask for more, and then try to settle on what we need. I mean, the story we told on Monday, you got them to like a 4.375% rate. Seller paid for it. And then we got the seller to pay all their closing costs. The only thing they had to pay for the home inspection.
Yep.
Maybe I'll try that next.
Yeah.
Why not?
Pay for the
Right?
home inspection.
But
That's a good idea,
$460 for the home inspection, and then their down payment.
That's it.
That's it.
And actually, they didn't even have to come in with their full down payment because there was tax prorations on the house. So they came in with a little less than what they were required to by the guidelines of the investors. I mean, the beauty of Tyler and Haley's was they were putting down a good amount of money. So we had a huge opening for the amount of concessions that we could bring in. But you're so creative. You guys are so creative at this. We could figure out a way.
Yeah, I love it. So I know the magic number.
Yep.
Yeah, and then maybe depending on how many days on, and that's the other thing. I'm the more days on the market, the more excited I am about negotiating on this house, because I know that the seller is a little bit more desperate.
They're ready.
And they're ready. But then sometimes, and this will lead to another question. So in the event a buyer has to take one or the other, that the seller's only willing to pay for closing costs or only willing to pay for the rate buy down.
Yep.
How do you factor in what's the best move for that buyer if you have to do one or the other?
Yeah, so I have a conversation. When we had that conversation with our last clients as well, and I'll just show you on paper. You know, the best part about math is 1 + 1 always equals 2 to me, Mike. It never ever lies. So it's easy to lay it out like, hey, okay, we have an option here of $25,000, whether it's taking it off of the price or using that for paying your closing costs and a rate buy down. Here's what both scenarios look like. 9 times out of 10, it's going to make more sense to take the higher purchase price and get the lower interest rate and get your closing costs covered than it would be to reduce the purchase price. Now, but if you're one of those people that believe that eventually we're going to go back to rates in the 3s, then maybe you don't want to do that. So we'll have those conversations. And those conversations, sometimes they're 10 minutes long and sometimes they're over an hour long. We'll hash it out. We'll talk pros and cons. We'll talk recoup times. We'll talk all about what makes sense for you, and we'll feed off of that.
So the other thing, and this is why I feel like, and I don't want to be all salesy, but I feel like that people should be, if you're in the market to buy a home, that there should be this sense of urgency. And I can say that because I'm getting ready, we're finishing up our taxes, and I'm getting ready to acquire our next property for my son, and that's a whole nother topic for another day, how creative you guys are with that. And I'm feeling this sense of urgency because if rates do continue to drop and we wake up and rates are in the 5s, these deals that I'm talking about, these negotiating strategies that I'm talking about, I'm not going to say they're going to become null and void, but there won't be as
They're going to be fewer and far between
because more buyers are then going to enter the market.
Yep.
And it's like, the Powerball is up to like how many billions of dollars,
I
right?
mean, just want a little bit of
just a little bit. But the fewer people buying Powerball tickets is better for you, right? Same thing. The fewer people in the marketplace looking at homes and buying homes benefits the buyer now, and especially with the market conditions. And again, us being able to negotiate the seller concessions, negotiate closing costs, negotiating a lower interest rate. There needs to be a sense of urgency if you're really serious about buying a home, because I don't know if we wake up and interest rates are 5.75, I don't know how much we're going to be able to negotiate. And so I feel the sense of urgency for myself, but the sense of urgency for my buyers.
And we're not that far away. Honestly, it's only going to take a couple more bad reports to really drive us down there. And what's funny is, 2-3 weeks ago, we were having a conversation on one of the podcasts about, you guys were asking me, what do you predict rates to be eventually? And I was like, man, it's going to take a lot of work for us to get in the fives. And here we are.
We're knocking on his door.
3 weeks later, and we are knocking on the door. We really are. And these revisions to these jobs reports have really put the economy growth in jeopardy. So yeah, I mean, it's cool, but just like you said, if we get into these fives, I really truly believe this. If we get into these fives, I feel like that word is going to go out much faster than we've seen in a long time, and we're going to have a lot more buyer activity. And so that's going to flip the market from a buyer's market. I know there's people out there that are saying this is a seller's market, but the writing's all over the place. We're getting all these contracts with buyers just getting whatever they want. It's going to flip. It's not going to take much time either. So I agree with you. I mean, you got to feel that sense of urgency.
Yeah, you absolutely got to. I mean, I feel it. I'm like, babe, we got to finish up the taxes. We got to get rocking and rolling because I took my wife one time to the Wrigley Mansion for the Sunday brunch. Mm-hmm. I'm an all-you-can-eat buffet guy, man.
Yeah, you are.
I feel pressure of not getting my money's worth. And oh my God, this was decades ago. I don't even think we had Quentin yet.
Okay.
And so I was doing the business show on 92.3 KTAR, and I had the general manager of the Wrigley Mansion on, so he gave me these free things or whatever. And so we went.
You say free and food to Mike?
Oh God. and so we went. We go up to the buffet line, do our thing. We sit down, and my wife eats what's on her plate, and I eat what's on my plate. And then I get up and go, "Let's go." And she goes, "Where do you want to go?" I go, "Round 2."
Yeah.
She goes, "I'm full." I'm like, "This is an all-you-can-eat buffet.
It's not acceptable.
We're not leaving money on the table. Or we're not leaving food on the table. I hate leaving. That's why you need to think about it. That's why so many of us are overweight.
Yeah.
Is we were raised with
finish your plate.
Finish your plate.
Yeah.
Probably the worst parenting advice.
Right.
Because I can't. It doesn't matter how full I am. I'm going to finish whatever.
I'm pushing through it.
I'll
roll out the door. Bring in the wheelchair.
But if you wait for interest rates to drop into the fives, I'm going to predict that you're going to pay more for the house than you would right now. You're not going to get as much in the way of concessions, so you might have to come in with all of your closing costs. You're probably not going to get the rate buy down, or if you do, it won't be as an aggressive buy down. So you're going to now have a higher payment over 360 months. You are literally, by waiting, you are leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table.
Agreed. And most people don't consider that money that they're giving you as basically interest. And that's the way I look at it, because it's a cost of owning a home, right? Interest is. But if you're going to give me a stack of money over here to spend on closing costs, interest rate buy downs, I mean, how can I make this stack of money work the best for me? And just standard closing costs. Let's just say standard closing costs are $10,000. $10,000. if we're talking about a 0.5% in interest rate, if that's what's stopping you, $10,000, if you were to calculate it in most people's loan balance, you know, that goes a long way. It goes a long way in interest paid. So I just don't think people give the value of even just standard closing costs that they should. I don't think people give the value of a seller's willing to repair everything on these homes like they should. Because we've been through the 2020, 2021, 2022, where nobody was fixing shit. And we're talking people closing on homes that had bad roofs, bad water heaters, bad AC units, and they were happy.
Islands removed, stair railings removed.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely
crazy. Stuff.
It was crazy. Piles of junk selling for way more than they should have sold. And I get that was the times, and I'm not asking people to do that, but I'm asking you to look at the value in the work that's put into negotiating these contracts. And I'm asking you to, if you're in the market or you're considering buying a home, let these guys do some work for you. Check it out. Play the market. Let's see what can be done.
And you can do that by texting the word RATE to 623-AZ-RECON. That's RATE to 623-AZ-RECON, or just type in the word RATE in the comments section. The other thing is, okay, let's just say, you know, as a buyer, you only have so much money, right? You take a look at cash on hand. You've only got so much money. And then for me, I'm like, if I can get the seller to pay for my closing costs and save me that $10,000, my purchasing power is now increased because I now have $10,000 more dollars for a down payment, and it might put me into that next level of home that I'm looking for.
Not only $10,000 in down payment, but maybe consider, rather than paying that down, because that might only make a difference of $60 a month on your
No,
payment.
but I'm just saying, like, my purchase price can increase because
I have that $10,000 to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do agree with you. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have to spend that $10,000. Let me just bring it back. Well, you've already put it in the pot. Keep it in the pot. See what it can get for you. And that's what I love about that story from Monday on what Tyler and Haley did. They allowed us to show them what we can do with that money that you already had in the pot.
All right. Well, I will say this. You can take the contents of this show and run to your agent. Chances are they're not going to be able to do what we can do. And I say that very boldly and confidently. And we'd love to have that conversation with you and show you our strategies and show you how to get a better price on the home, how to get your seller or how to get your closing costs paid for, how to get the seller to buy down your rate. And all you got to do is text the word RATE to 623-AZ-RECON. That's RATE to 623-AZ-RECON.